If you just put yourself in that situation, you're bound to learn. That's the beautiful thing I think about brains. You can do anything you put your mind to.
Bring creative minds together and just do creative things and show people that this industry isn't something to be scared of. It brings amazing people out that are going to change the world. A lot of times I get the question, why don't you just enjoy life? And it's like, well, why don't you just live in my brain for a day? I could be in the most miserable mood, light up a joint, and I'm focused back to what I wanted to do and what I am supposed to be doing.
The important things.
The important
come
things.
back.
Yeah.
The little things that really don't matter, they kind of just leave your brain.
This is not a harmful substance. For the longest time, we thought it was going to turn people into dumb idiots. Not dumb idiots. They're like, you're a pharmacist. Especially the You Feel You. Shout out to Sam.
Shout out to Sam.
That product has been a dream.
Wow.
I love that man. I love that man.
Get a honey peppermint tea here. You know that they don't have honey in like most places in like the GTA at Tim Hortons? Every time I go in and ask for honey, they're like, yeah, we don't carry honey. Like, what? Like, you're Tim Hortons.
Probably because of how the expense of it. They don't want to carry the expense of that honey.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I feel like small towns, like they always have it. So, you know, cheers and shout out to all the small town Tim Hortons. Guys, thank you so much for tuning back in. This is your boy Sean from Touch of Love. I got Dave here. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. And I know it's been a couple months in the making, and we had a couple cool ideas for the summertime. Unfortunately, time kind of slipped away, but I'm really glad we still kept in touch and we're able to get this done.
Yeah, man, I'm loving that we made this happen. Shout out to Ashley for, you know, providing her space to us. This is such a nice area. Like, you know, I could probably see myself recording here every single day.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful space here at the Nug Hub in Welland. She's done an amazing job creating a safe, fun environment for the cannabis industry to come here, have parties, have fun, you know, have podcasts and just do great things and be able to consume in a safe, awesome way.
Mm-hmm. People always talk about that they want to do things for the community and they want to bring the community together. But a lot of the times it's just talk. And like when people actually do it and put their foot forward, it's the best. And it's like really shows that, you know, the culture is still alive. It's here. And like, we just want people together and just build a community up together.
Absolutely. So, yeah. It really shows in this space, the heart behind the community and how much they want to see the community come together, bring ideas together, bring creative minds together and just do creative things and show people that the cannabis industry isn't something to be scared of. It's something to be celebrating, something to be happy about because it brings the creatives out. It brings amazing people out that are going to change the world.
That's right. Very well said, man. Yeah. So what is it about cannabis for you?
Cannabis for me, my story for cannabis starts when I was 16 years old. I smoked pot at the time. I was smoking a lot of pot with all my friends. I was at a party and I had a really bad anxiety and I was having a really bad time. And a friend passed a joint over to me and I was really iffy at the time, but I trusted the person. So I took my first puff and my anxiety went away. Everything instantly went away. All of a sudden, it felt like the life of the party and felt like I could talk to people and felt like I was a human again. From there, it took off. I wanted to dabble more into it, not to become the stoner that you saw on TV or the person that you just saw slumped on the couch smoking weed all day, just trying to get favors off of people. I wanted to be that successful, fun stoner that could heal his pains and his both mental and physical pains with this plant and be able to do cool things in life. So I focused in high school. I stayed in high school. I got my work done. I went to college. But I continued to smoke weed behind people's backs, behind my parents' back, behind my family's back, because the stigma was there at that point where why aren't you just taking OxyContin? Why aren't you just taking these other drugs? These will take your pains away. But in the back of my mind, even though I never really had a medical background, I always saw myself as thinking there's something wrong with this. There's something that is hurting my kidneys and my bladder and my body that doesn't function at 100% already, that is going to hurt me more. I think I need to take a more holistic approach, and cannabis really helped me. So through high school, I would just, I would be open about smoking weed. I'm smoking weed for my mental health, and I'm smoking weed for my physical health, and I feel great. And if you don't believe in that, then that's okay. That's fine. I never judged. I never said, you know what, great. But it did lead me down a dark path. I did get into alcoholism because of the stigma. I was an alcoholic up until about 3 years ago, and finally recovered, thankfully, to cannabis.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. Cannabis really does help. Cannabis has seriously helped me with my alcoholism, with staying the course, staying focused with what I want to do in life, how fun I want to have, cool things I want to do in life. Bringing my life back. The cannabis industry and the people in this industry have really helped me. They've really shown me what I can do, where other industries have constantly told me what I can't do, or where the accessibility blockage is, or where I can't do something because I, for those who don't know, am in a wheelchair and physically can't do a lot of different jobs that I've always wanted to do in my life. I had passion for in my life and then realized I couldn't. So trying to find a job that one, can physically do and want to passionately do has been tough, has been really hard. It did lead me down that path of alcoholism and wondering who I was and what I was doing. And was I just party Dave that everybody just loved, or was there more to me? And cannabis has helped. Cannabis helps a lot. Cannabis is a lifesaver for a lot of people, including myself, and that's where I want to get my messages out, is both in medical and in the recreational side. You can have a lot of fun with this plant, and you can be really safe with this plant, and you can really learn a lot.
Nice, man. It's crazy to me. So many people have had so many profound medical experiences with cannabis, and for people to still think that, it's like a harmful, something that you shouldn't be using, something that, like you mentioned earlier, people would rather you take opioids and things like that to deal with your pain than something natural and holistic. So, your perspective and your experiences, your story is going to shed a lot of light for a lot of people in this space, and it can really prevent a lot of people's use of those medications as well. So I personally, like being a pharmacist, I never think that opioids are the answer. Some cases, yes, for sure, but rarely. Like, you absolutely do not need to be taking those medications. There's so many other approaches, healthier approaches for the body. And yeah, it's just, I think it's our job, because we're so passionate about the plant, it's our job to show people, the real life applications of it.
Yeah.
So what is your way of consuming? Like, how do you prefer to consume, and why?
So my way of consuming, typically herb vape. I do really like my herb vapes and the vaporizers out there. Shout out to Volcano. They're awesome.
Yeah, shout out to the Volcano.
Just an incredible device. It's a healthy way of consuming your cannabis, a healthier way. It's been proven.
For sure.
It's out there that
yeah.
It's there. It's a better way to consume your cannabis. So I definitely do enjoy my herb vapes. And I enjoy my bongs. I like my bongs. I like that fast rush of being able to get my medicine and feel those effects as fast as possible, where I don't necessarily feel that in a joint, or I feel that in other ways of consuming. So definitely been a bong person, probably more in the last 6 months than I have in my entire life, just because of the convenience of it and how quick you can consume. Where the herb vape, it does take a little bit of time. It takes some energy, and in this cold weather, it's not necessarily the most fun to have to spend 10 minutes outside trying to smoke your medicine.
It's the worst.
So you gotta be a little bit creative in the wintertime.
Yeah, for sure.
But those are definitely my two favorite ways of consuming, just because of the convenience and the effects on your lungs.
Yeah, the immediacy of the effects. Yeah.
It's just so easier, much easier on your lungs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on your mind. I find it brings you through a different journey in the high than other ways of consuming as well.
Okay. Why do you feel like that? Is it because the way they burn, like they burn at different temperatures?
Burn the different temperatures. I like getting my flavor. I like being able to understand those flavors and taste those flavors.
Mm-hmm.
You might say that tasting those flavors, you're not necessarily getting all the effects that that strain could potentially provide to you.
For sure.
But I'm getting what I'm enjoying out of it, and being able to enjoy those flavors and just the other aspects of cannabis is really interesting, because there's more to it than just getting high.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
There's just so much beauty to this plant, and how many different flavors there are to different strains that's why I enjoy that herb vape. That's why I like smoking out of that thing, because I don't know what I'm going to taste next.
Yo, honestly, like the same strain can provide different flavors. Like you're talking about burning at different temperatures, you get more of a flavorful effect at lower temps. And obviously, because terpenes and all these cannabinoids, they're all volatile compounds. So the higher you burn them, you might not actually be getting the full effects of all the terpenes and all of the cannabinoids. You might just be burning them away, and like you're kind of just getting that super high sort of feeling, and you're skipping all of the other medical benefits of it. So, there's a lot to be said for, I think, dosing and for temperature, for sure. Yeah.
It also depends on when you say in regards to how I consume. It also depends on what I'm consuming as well. My minor cannabinoids, typically, those will be done and ingested for me through capsules, tablets, or solubles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't smoke mine. I tend to find that I get headaches when I smoke minor cannabinoid through vapes or just through like balanced flowers,
Mm-hmm.
where it's different. It's a different experience when I'm taking an edible or doing it in a different way.
Interesting.
So again, it also depends on the cannabinoids that I'm trying to achieve as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm not always consuming THC. I'm a lot of CBD throughout my day, a lot of CBG throughout my day. The CBG gets my mind moving, gets me in a positive, happy spot. The CBD helps me with my physical pain that I am constantly in.
So you're able to find, let's say, standardized sort of capsules and liquids, and you're able to go back to them constantly, and you'll know the effects that you're going to get.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a couple really awesome products out there these days that are coming out, and with the technology that we're starting to be able to use to dial in these doses and dial in these capsules, they're becoming more effective, and you're getting more out of them. One particular one that I really enjoy is Glacial Gold. They're out of BC. They're fantastic. They've come out with different tablets, and they have also different balanced vapes as well that I use quite often. They're really good. Yeah. I really like those. They've always balanced me out, but never put me to a place where I was so stoned or I couldn't function throughout my day.
Mm-hmm.
They help me function through my day, and I find that they've tuned into the recreational side of the medical side, if that makes sense to you. If that makes sense, where like you see those people that they're coming in for their recreational, but they're consuming for medical purposes.
Yes, absolutely. I think all consumption is medical in some sort of way. Like you're always looking for an effect. You're always looking for something to happen. So I think everybody's consumption is medical, but it's more about like if you have a goal with what you're trying to do after you consume. That's the main thing. It's like, okay, I've consumed, but like, what now? Like, what am I going to do with this? How am I going to use this to better my life? How am I going to use this as a tool? Um, a lot of times it doesn't seem medical because people just consume and just go sit down or whatever and don't do anything. Um, but yeah, I think it's very, very much about what you're trying to do with that high. So, like, let's say for yourself, if you don't mind me asking, like what was the reason for you having to become in a wheelchair?
So I was born with spina bifida and hydrocephalus. Spina bifida is a hole in the spine that isn't quite developed by birth. Um, and when I was born, and I'm now 34, so this is years ago. The technology, the studies, the research wasn't out there as to why this was happening, why people were developing these holes in spines and causing spina bifida. Um, Turns out that after research, it is from a lack of folic acid
Mm-hmm.
and folic acid pills. So I'm definitely someone to let people know, like, hey, take your folic acid if you're
Yes.
pregnant.
Yes.
It's important. Um, this is what could happen, and I literally show them. It's not to feel bad for myself. I'm grateful for who I am, what I am, and where I am. This is cool. I love it. I love being in a wheelchair, and I love having the experiences that I've been able to have because of my disability. I'm very positive about my disability and who I am and what I am. And I know there's not a whole lot of people with spina bifida out in the world these days. And there's less now because we know that folic acid was a big problem. And that's great. You know what? They're phasing out my disability, and that's okay. I'm proud to carry that spina bifida badge and say, you know what? I am the living proof of humans who want to do positive things for people,
Yes.
and see people survive and live in a world and where everybody deserves to live. Everybody deserves a chance that is born. And yeah, shout out to the medical field. I have so much respect for the medical field and everybody in medical because of their their passion for wanting to heal people. Um, I know a lot of the medical field has been just run over the last couple of years because of everything that's just happened in the world. But to me, the medical field is just something that's had my back, and I have their back. And I think it's just great that we're able to start talking about cannabis now in the medical field, and we're all now clashing that together. And people are seeing that there's other medicines out there, and we're working together. And
What I gather from what you're saying, you're able to show people, one, why cannabis is beneficial. Two, you're able to prevent people from having any of the complications and things that you've experienced in your life because you're living proof. So, you're just kind of like in all these different areas, just trying to better other people's lives, based on your own situation. And you're like, the way you're presenting it, you're wearing it proudly. Like you wear that badge proudly, and I can definitely see it. Um, yeah, man. Like, ever since I've talked to you, and like ever since we met, I just like I'm amazed at your story. So hats off to you. I commend you for sure.
I appreciate you very much, and I appreciate the conversations and the relationship we've built. And I think we're going to do a lot of really cool things, and we're going to build a lot of awesome communities and a lot of awesome ideas, and get people thinking about cannabis and medical, and all three sides, that triangle: the medical cannabis, the recreational cannabis, and yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding the three pieces, how they fit together, but how they are different, and being able to talk about it a little bit more and being okay with it and not shying away with it, and breaking that stigma is what I'm trying to get at. Just breaking those stigmas and breaking those barriers. That's what I'm all about, is breaking barriers.
Yeah. So before cannabis was legalized, were you aware of all these like minor cannabinoids and like how they were helping you, or is this something that's been a little bit more of a recent revelation?
So I've known about THC and CBD since I started my journey, because I knew through research and just doing my own research through other countries that I was able to gather information from, that there was a CBD. People were taking a CBD side of the plant for their inflammation, for their pain. But I didn't know about any of the other minor cannabinoids. I just knew what CBD was. But I knew that if there was CBD, there had to be more. There had to be more to it. I remember having conversations with my friends while we were smoking weed in, back alleys or wherever the heck we had to smoke it, because we had to smoke it there. And just talking to people about how, like, look at like how the way it burns, and like just look at the way that it's burning, and look at the like smell what you're smelling each time there's something more to this. There's more than us just getting high here. And it's always been in the back of my mind that there's more to the plant than anybody's ever decided, or for the longest time decided to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had the grades or the focus to be able to go to school for the research side of things, to be able to put my ideas together. So I think me being a open voice and just getting my voice out there and letting people know, hey, these were my thoughts and these are my thoughts, and I've had these thoughts forever. I can connect the dots, and I can connect the people I need to connect to meet these people, to get to the right person, to let them know, hey, this is my story. This is what I'm doing. This is physical proof. I know you can do something about it because of what your titles are, what you have credential wise. Let's work together.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Would you ever do clinical trials, or have you done clinical trials?
I have not done clinical trials. I was up at Grass on the Hill in Ottawa a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
I was very fortunate to be up there with Paul Peterson, Paul Oils from Glacial Gold as well.
Sick.
He invited me up and he introduced me to some absolutely amazing people. Shout out to George Smitherman for inviting me to all the parties up there and meeting some of the most amazing people. I got to meet some NPs, and I also got to meet Health Canada. Health Canada has heard my story. They understand where I'm out, that I'm out there now. They know who I am, and they do want to start talking to me a little bit more about clinical trials, about trying to do some things that I can do to help bridge gaps that we're missing in our research. That who are we researching on, and who are we doing these things to, that we're not progressing as fast as we possibly could. I'm just seeing all these other countries doing all these other things, and it's just like, where's our gap? What are we doing wrong here? So you know what? I've been smoking cannabis for 15 something years now. Here I am. I'm ready to be the honest person to let you know this is honestly my effects. These are honestly what I've learned from other people and what I've learned myself. Let's get our shit together, start bridging these gaps, start fixing these problems, and start progressing with this plan, progressing with cannabis. Cannabis can be something amazing in Canada. Canada tourism is all my brain thinks of. Mm-hmm. I'm a tourism student, so that's what I do.
Okay, nice.
So breaking those barriers of being able to do Canada tourism is just all I'm waiting for. I'm just waiting for that moment to be like, hey, Canada, you see now this is the safe ways we can do this. Just let us do it. Mm-hmm. So again, when you come back to clinical trials and going through Health Canada or doing these clinical trials, yeah, I'm willing to assist anybody that's wanting me to be part of their trials. Anytime, anywhere, call me, give me a buzz, find me on Instagram, mm-hmm. wherever. I'm willing to help. I want to see this community grow and be something amazing and be an alternative for so many other things out there. A lot of times I get the question, well, why don't you just enjoy life? And it's like, well, why don't you just live in my brain for a day, and you might understand where I'm coming from. Yep. For those that can't just live life without anything, because so many people deal with so many things. Cannabis is one of the safest things to be consuming. In my opinion, for recreational wise, to have fun, to do things, to be able to go out and and just enjoy life and whatnot. So to me, like, when people ask me the question, it's would you rather, like, I don't know, would you rather see these people die? Would you rather see them do horrible things? Or would you rather see them do safe consumption? And that's another part of my story is safe consumption and harm reduction. We have a very bad problem in Canada with opioids right now. It is proven. It is showing. It's proven. You see the streets of Toronto. You see the streets of Vancouver. It breaks my heart to see these people on the streets and to hear other people say, oh, it's because they didn't try hard enough in life. No, you didn't give them a chance. You didn't let them explain what they need and how they need it and what they need to be able to move in their lives. If we can help these people and understand some stories a little bit more and listen to people and have some compassion and just start to listen to more, we can start helping more. We can start creating these programs that might be in the future safe consumption spots for other things, for other people's problems. But we need to start with cannabis because cannabis has been researched for so long, and we need to continue forward. We need to keep pushing. We're 5 years in, and we're still behind. My point is we're still behind. So let's keep pushing. Let's do what we got to do, and keep the conversations going. Keep talking to other people. Don't be shy. If you have that little man in the back of your head that said, or a little person in the back of your head that says you can't do this, or your story's not good enough, or your story is not important, your story is important. Put your story out there. They clearly want to hear the stories. They clearly want to know what they want the research. They want the evidence. So put your story out there, like myself.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you should not be afraid. I think everyone needs to be open, especially if you have the passion behind you and you really want to see the plant, you know, do justice, really explore all of its potential. Then yes, people need to be very much open about it. They need to tell exactly what's going on, and how it's helped them, because this is the only way forward, in my opinion. Like, people that have been using it from time, like, if you look at a LP, let's say, who do they want to hire? They want to hire a grower that has experience, that can produce fire product. And if you've been growing for a year versus a master grower that's from the legacy from like 30 years ago, who do you think is probably going to produce better flower? And it goes the same for people that have been consuming it and using it. If you are going to be talking to people that have real life experiences with this, you got to look at the people that have been consuming for 20 years, 25 years, and how it's helped them. And, you know, it could be large in part due to cannabis that they're still alive to this day, or, you know, like, they're coherent enough to even tell their story. Because like you said, there is a very big crisis, and, you know, it's very easy to just start taking a pill and, you know, get addicted. And then next thing you know, you find yourself going down the wrong path. So in a lot of ways, we can prevent that with this.
And it's cheap. It's cheaper to go that route. Unfortunately, the excess tax in Canada and in Ontario is a big problem.
Yeah.
Excess tax and compassionate pricing. There should be compassionate pricing. There should be coverage for people on ODSP.
Yeah, because there isn't, right?
There
like
isn't.
People that you can just get Percocets and things like that for free because of.
I'm able to get a perk, no problem. My ODSP workers able to, and my doctor can write up, no problem, is like in a minute for me.
Yeah.
But I want cannabis, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, hold up now.
We got a whole bunch of red tape to go through now.
But they'll cover a vaporizer. They'll cover for me to be able to get a vaporizer like a Volcano, but they won't cover cannabis. They won't cover the medication, but they'll cover the device.
Wow,
So
that's
it's
complete opposite of how it should be.
And complete opposite. You're covering $600 plus devices, but you can't cover the cannabis itself.
Actual medicine that you need.
Or the actual medicine, or come up with some sort of compassionate pricing where it works. There's just a lot of avenues that could be looked at to help the program. I'm on ODSP myself. I struggle to get off of it because of trying to find a full-time job that I can financially live in produce everything that I need to.
And it's not like you don't have the motivation to go do that, right? It's just like physical incompatibilities that are causing that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not physically able to do things that you want to do, which kind of just leaves you to that resort of, okay, like, you know, I need a little bit of help to survive. It's not easy to survive in this world.
Nope, and it gets harder and harder, and that's exactly it. As I'm the physically disabled run into a problem in Canada of trying to find jobs that are suitable for them, that they can do, that they want to do, and are passionate about as well. Um, you always get well, you know, just get whatever job you can get, and it's this is my job for my whole life, so I should be at least enjoying it.
Yeah, have a little bit of say in what I want to do,
A little bit of
right?
say
You
in what I
know?
want, and I don't get the say right now. I have to pick the jobs that I can get, because those are the jobs that I physically can do. We're really behind here in Canada with accessibility, and I think there's a big push that's needed next. Not next. It's been going, and we've been trying to push, but I think there's another wave of pushing the disabled community that needs to happen to open up the avenues of disability and finding those jobs and getting these people off these streets and helping out this opioid crisis and educating people on safe consumption and harm reduction. And it all comes back to cannabis. It all comes back to, for me, it comes back to cannabis. All these ideas and all this passion and all this work I have is because of cannabis. It opens my mind to seeing what I can do and what my potential is, instead of hearing the people in my life or the trauma and back trauma in my life that tells me I can't, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. Cannabis blocks that. And it's really cool. I like that part about cannabis. I could be in the most miserable mood, light up a joint, and
That's it.
I'm focused back to what I wanted to do and what I am supposed to be doing.
The important things come
things.
back.
Yeah.
The little things that really don't matter, they kind of just leave your brain. And everything that's important comes to light, which is amazing for me. Like, I personally feel like, you know, after a long day at work, I'm like talking to like a million people. Everybody, like, people are just so needy. Like, especially like when they come to see me, I think like it's very much this culture where like I need this done right now. And I mean, I don't really like to complain about it too much, because, you know, it is my job and I really do like helping the public. I'm a public servant at the end of the day, and it's a walk-in business. People come to see me. It's not like a doctor where, like, you know, you have to make an appointment. It's a pharmacy. You come and see me anytime you want during store hours. So it can get a lot, and, you know, a lot of people demand different things from you. And like when I go home and, you know, I like consume my medicine, I'll think about like what happened during the day, and like I'll just come to this revelation that like, wow, it just helped like so many different people today. And yeah, like there might be one or two people that, you know, made my mood a little, you know, not as happy as I would have wanted it. But for the most part, it was amazing. And I got to help so many people. And like cannabis really just focuses and shifts my mind towards all the positives that happen, you know, and like kind of blocks out the negatives that really aren't serving me a purpose.
And I think the funny thing about cannabis and just that positive thinking is people come back with you ads talking about toxic positivity and being positive all the time, and how it's so toxic to be positive all the time. I don't think that. I think that's BS. I think it's okay to be positive all the time. Should you be aware of your situations and be aware of when people might be trying to, you know, screw you or something?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that doesn't say I can't be positive and have a positive outlook in my life, and have cannabis help me keep that positivity going and show people that, you know, life can be a lot more fun.
It all comes from within.
Life should be fun.
Right? It all comes from within. It's what you want to bring out into the world. It's whatever you're feeling and whatever your emotions are, you control what you show people. So if you're contributing a positive, you know, happy, you know, you're uplifting everybody around you, that's amazing. Like obviously you're a human being. You're going to have times where you're not feeling your 100%, but it's still what you choose to put out, and what energy you choose to put out is what matters at the end of the day. And you know, because we are humans and sometimes we do feel like we're not doing our best, using medicine like cannabis to bring you back to that baseline is, I see nothing wrong with that. That's just amazing that that can happen. And our bodies are so formidable and so, you know, in cohesion with the endocannabinoid system, and using these cannabinoids, and it can just produce these amazing effects that, like, it's just, it gives me goosebumps to think about every time, man. Yeah.
People kept, for the longest time, people kept telling me to just sit with my thoughts. Just sit with my thoughts and let my thoughts process and my feelings process. Yeah, I understand that, but like if my thoughts are constantly negative, constantly, because that's just how my brain is wired, I'm going to use this to help me out. And it helps. And it shouldn't be seen as like, hey, I'm just using something to become happy. I should, focus on just being happy. No, that's not how brains work. That's not how everybody's brains work. Sure, maybe your brain, you can flip your switch and you can all of a sudden, be happy again. There's a lot of people that can't flip that switch.
Exactly.
They need that help.
That's that
I need
tool.
that help.
Yeah, it's a tool at the end of the day. It really just depends on what you need, and like what time you're consuming, and the dose you're consuming at. Like there's so many things, and that's why I think that like the medicine is there for everybody, but it's just about how you use it and how much you use it and the time that you use it, and the like the goal that you have for using it. There's a lot of things that that go into that. So I think everybody can use it and everybody can benefit from it and just increase their quality of life. But it all just depends on, like, that specific person and being catered to that specific person. It's different for everybody, right? So yeah, man, I picture you like rolling around in a lab, like, with like bunch of cannabis clinical studies going on in the lab coat. Like I feel like you are somebody that needs to be doing that, man. Like people are.
I can't sit still and write things. I can't write as much as researchers do.
Yeah.
I need somebody to help me out with that piece, because my I don't like to say ADHD because it's never been diagnosed, but my ADHD like tendencies and my ability to not be able to focus on a lot of things for a long time. And just be able to, having so many thoughts in my head all the time, I'm not able to put my thoughts necessarily onto paper and have it sound smart or sound like it's actually benefiting somebody, when in my brain I know it's
dude.
there.
I mean,
so
like,
it's having just, it's building those little pieces to find those people that are going to be like, hey, yeah, I'll help you out to do with that, to fix that, to do that part for you because of this and that.
Yeah, I mean, you could be a consultant. Like you play a consultant role.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of people can use your benefit and experiences and expertise in the science realm, I think, because you do have that experience with minor cannabinoids. You do use it for medical reasons. So like, let's say when you wake up, what's your cannabis stack like? How do you use it throughout the day? Is it different, very day to day, or is it like kind of like, this is my routine and this is what I kind of stick to?
it does actually vary from day to day. Well, there's a routine that I'm trying to stick to, but it does vary on my days off from work or days off from something important that I'm doing. If I'm literally not doing anything at all, THC right in the morning, I'm just going to have some THC and enjoy my day. My mental health is a mental health day, and I'm going to enjoy some THC, then think about the goods and the bads and how I'm going to, work the next week ahead, what's going to happen. And that's what THC does for me. So I'll typically just I'll just smoke THC, or
it allows you to get in your
THC.
head and like think about your plans that are coming up, and like
Exactly.
allows you to create an itinerary.
Yep. It takes those negative thoughts away, and those, you can't do this, or you're not going to do this, or like you've got to do this, this, and this, this, and this, and this, and this. So you've got to do so much. Don't even bother doing it. It puts that into the perspectives, like, okay, I need to do this, and I do it because of the THC. Days that I'm working, I'm typically getting up and I'm consuming about a milliliter of THC oil, which doesn't get me high. It puts a body buzz in my body that helps the pain go away.
Okay.
And then mixing it with some CBD, whether that be an isolate or something that I'm able to just drop with in like a pill form, and putting that down, because the CBD will help me get through my work day and help the pain go away. Um, it definitely doesn't help with the mental game. I have to work on my own and do my own building throughout the day. And that's where I like my balance. I find my balance is different. I don't always preach THC and CBD. You do have to work on your own stuff. You do have to work on your own mental health and your own game, and getting yourself prepped every single day. So it's going through those lessons that I've learned throughout my day when I can't consume THC and I'm just CBG throughout my day. But it gets me through my day, and it gets me to work. It gets me to doing the things I need to do. It gets me to get up and enjoy my life and actually enjoy life for what life should be. Mm-hmm. So that'll typically be my day. And then at night, I'll switch over to, a volcano and smoke a little bit of THC, or I'll smoke a balance of CBD and THC, because I don't want to be stoned, but I want to just feel relaxed and just enjoy some TV, or, turning my brain off from work that day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that'll typically be done either via like vape, or just something that's convenient and easy that I can jump on the couch and still be able to puff.
Yeah.
And not have my house smell.
Yeah.
So
nice.
that's usually the regimen. That's usually what I'm doing.
Okay.
On a day-to-day basis. I am constantly writing down what I'm taking and what I'm doing and when I'm doing it and how I'm doing it, and
you're journaling it.
I'm journaling it, and I'm making sure that it's there so that I can find eventually a dial in, maybe.
Yeah,
I've
you
never
look
really
back
dialed
on
in.
it, like
I
you
haven't.
can just, honestly, like you could probably just crunch those numbers, throw it into a program, and like you could like really find out like, what your patterns are. You could predict like, things that are gonna happen, and like when you would need certain things. Like you can really do that, especially if you create that journal, that diary, and just like have that data at hand.
Yeah.
It could be useful for other people as well. So yeah, very, very good that you're doing that. I rate that.
There's an amazing journal out there done by my buddy Ryan, the Cannabis Journal. It's a fantastic little book that he came out with that allows you to get into a little bit more detail about your journey and your experience and writing that stuff down. And it's convenient to have beside you a little book that's already, it's not a blank space of paper of you writing down your experiences. He puts those little details in so that your brain's now moving for those that need that little bit of a push.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps me because I'm able to put in that information now and journal and dial in what I'm enjoying, what I'm not, what's working for me, what's not. I'm finding anywhere between 75 to 100 milligrams of CBD is good for me. Anything like less than that is not actually doing anything. It's like taking Tylenol.
Except a lot better, because Tylenol is depleting your antioxidants and using your liver metabolism and kidney metabolism, and just not really doing the best for your gut either.
And for somebody who has kidney problems, I've had kidney problems my entire life. My kidneys are smaller. I deal with urinary tract infections. I deal with problems on a day-to-day basis. So to be able to phase out something like that and use something else is just prolonging my life. It's prolonging my journey. It's prolonging my
kidney health. Yes,
it's
absolutely. Prolonging
me from being in hospitals. I saw friends of mine when I was young in hospitals at my age. I'm not in a hospital yet, nor have I, knock on wood, have had a problem where I've needed to be in a hospital for a long-term stay. And I credit that to cannabis and CBD. My friends think I'm nuts, but I'm just like, I've been doing this for years, guys, and you haven't seen me being rushed to a hospital I've never posted on the internet about how I'm stuck in the hospital for the next 3 or 4 days with some infection or something. I don't have sores. I'm moving a lot. I'm physically active. It's weed, guys. It's
magical.
cannabis that's doing it for me. And then all of a sudden they hear me say, "Oh, it's cannabis." Oh, whoa, well, and then they start going down like trying to tell me it's not, and it's like, no, I'm telling you my journey, my story. You asked, and this is what I'm telling you, that I've been using cannabis for this long, and I'm this healthy.
Yeah, it's probably the only difference, like main lifestyle difference between you and them, right? So
that's exactly it.
Chalk it up to that.
I've really dialed down to watching what my friends do, what my other disabled friends do, and how they do it. Not to pinpoint them, not to nitpick them, not to be mean, to let them know, like, this is what the difference is. This is where the difference is. You want to live a life like me? This is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Don't shy away with it. Don't push it away, or don't. You got questions? Ask questions, but if you want to hear my story, then, honestly, compassionately listen to it instead of just trying to listen to it so that you can fight me on why I've done this way, and how a doctor might have told you this or that, and that can't be true because the doctor told me this or this.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's more out there that we need to continue to study.
Yes.
There's definitely more out there that we don't know.
I think the fact that you're able to self-medicate yourself and also, like, in turn kind of relieve pressure on the medical system too, that's everything. That's like literally exactly what is needed and is necessary. And that's what I think cannabis can do for us. It can relieve a lot of pressure on the medical system, and on the patients, and on the money being spent on medication that is kind of just mask or crutch. It's not really solving the issue. So yeah, I commend you for that as well, man. Like, it's selfless what you're doing. It's selfish, but it's also selfless. It's the best of both worlds. Yeah.
Just trying to educate and let people know that, like, I'm living proof that this is not a harmful substance. This is not something that for the longest time we thought was going to just turn people into dumb idiots. We're not dumb idiots. They're like, you're a pharmacist. I don't even know how to get into that kind of thing. Like, I commend you for what you do, the amount of things you know, and like just your big brain. Like, I get to meet cool people like you and pick your brain and learn about the things that you've learned about and whatnot, because I know my brain's not capable of doing that, but I can also become your friend and learn that stuff slowly.
That's it.
And at least learn what I can consume and what I can ingest in, and you do the rest, because that's what your expertise is.
That's what it is, man. That's how we learn. We learn from talking to each other. Like, the reason, like, I came on a 2-hour drive to come see you is because I feel like there's value here. Like, I want to know what your experiences are. I want to know how you use the plant. I want to know how your real life experiences can be, transferred to the next person. So
just doing it in a safe way. I'm totally honest with you. Just doing it in a safe way, knowing what green out is, knowing what greening out is, knowing what percentages are, just knowing what the plant is, understanding the research and getting it, and knowing your safe balance and relationship with cannabis, knowing what your relationship is. Everybody's relationship is different. People that come up to me and tell me that they only smoke this, or they only smoke this much, or I smoke this much, they get the same reaction from me. Okay, yeah. Is it helping you? Yeah. Then great. I'm proud of you. You know what? That's awesome. It's okay. It's okay to only smoke 0.5 in a day if only 0.5 is what gets you by. Great. Awesome. You're not over consuming.
Yeah.
But if you need to, in other eyes, people see over consuming, but those people need that amount to be able to get by, to be able to go throughout their day because of the pain they're in. Don't judge those people. accept them, understand their story, listen to their stories, and together we can become something better. We can become a industry, both medically and recreationally, that blows up in Canada, that becomes the next big thing in Canada.
Yep.
I find a lot of industries are shying away from Canada and moving away, and I think cannabis is something that, like the wine industry, how many billions of dollars the wine industry has been successful in Canada because of our beautiful terroir and area.
Yep.
Terroir is a major thing in cannabis too, where you're growing it and how you're growing it and the soil you're growing it in. All that matters too.
Yep.
So if we could start just breaking again those stigmas and talking about the relationships of the two and comparing it and seeing that we've got so much success with this,
Yeah.
I think everyone in Canada will open up more and be like, you know what, this is a way to save this province or this country.
This country, yeah, the
There's a
whole
way to
country
save
needs
us
it.
here.
There's a lot of things wrong, but legalization in Canada has brought so many opportunities for us to overcome. We just got to use them the right way. Like, the air is so clean. Like, our soil and our natural land is so vast. There's like so much potential here. Like, a lot of countries would kill for what we have. So like, you talk about tourism, like, obviously, yeah, growing and doing that is one thing, but bringing people from all over the world to think of this as a destination where we can come and learn and experience and get educated. Like, I am waiting for the day that happens. What do you see tourism as? Like, what do you want to see in that industry?
I'd love to see I'd love to be able to see a tasting bar, or I can walk into the dispensary or the property and immediately see a tasting bar where I can try their cultivars or their top ones that they're growing right now, where I can see from seed to soil to harvest what's going on and be able to experience it and see it and learn it. Having hotels where they're cannabis friendly and being able to allow cannabis to be consumed in these hotels or in these retreats. And more Canna cruises. We've got a lot of beautiful lakes in Ontario. We are so fortunate to have so many beautiful lakes in this province and just so close to us, that we should be utilizing Canna cruises and having Canna cruises and these parties and stuff and doing these fun things that can be done in a really fun, safe way that I think we're shying away from because people are seeing the things that could hurt people by doing these things, when really we could be seeing these things but also showing them that there's a way to do it in a safe, positive way.
Yeah, I mean, even like, if you look at it, alcohol is served on every single cruise everywhere. Like,
Why-
how is that any different?
Right,
You know?
exactly. There's cruises that you're serving alcohol. There's cannabis events that I'm going to that they're serving alcohol.
Yep,
But they
yep.
can't serve the weed.
Yeah.
They can't serve the cannabis, but they can serve the alcohol. I'm at a cannabis event. There are so many people here right now that are using this plant because they are recovering alcoholics, and you're just freely just serving alcohol because something's wrong here. Something's backwards. It's not right.
Yeah.
I understand smoking and the idea of smoke in a small space and in a home and in a small restaurant. It can get to be really stinky and really gross, and I understand that. But there are other ways to consume that we could be doing inside, or we could be offering, like we do with alcohol, where it's done in a safe way and it's done in a fun way. I should be able to go to a car show and choose that I want to, buy a 0.3 vape disposable and walk down the street and, check out those cars throughout the day, instead of a tall boy, and being able to order as many tall boys as I want, knowing that these people are going to be driving home after your event. Something's not right. Something does not make sense.
I heard something about like Thailand. You can just get cannabis at the bar now. Like it's ordered. Like you order a drink and you can order some like a pre roll.
You can. As from what I've researched and what I know is you can do things like that. Thailand, it was a has been a forefront. They have also scaled back recently. They have scaled back to the point where I think they're looking at only doing medical again and staying on the medical side of things. So you're seeing these shops disappearing now, where for a couple of years we were seeing that boom. Um, but there's other countries out there that are in the forefront of doing that stuff and having that kind of tourism where you can just go pick up a joint and enjoy it down the street. But not Canada. Canada, you've got to go to your store, buy your weed, go home, don't tell anybody about it. Just smoke your weed and shut up. Go home.
Yeah.
It's even an awkward conversation in the stores. It's because of the fact that you can only say so much, or you can only say certain things, or the education for the bud tenders isn't quite out there right now to motivate them to want to tell people about the other cool fun things about cannabis. It's just, here's your weed, go home and smoke it. I think that needs to change, and when that changes, then we can expand some more.
Yeah, I think that education is coming. I really like to think it is, but it's also going to be on the bud tenders and the store managers to want to do it, right? So
And
it goes both ways.
a consistent, proper education too. Stuff that makes sense. Stuff that's actually accurate. Stuff that's being updated and uploaded.
Yeah, through the LP, of course, right? Through the people that are creating the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think it definitely needs to go both ways. Like, there got to be an intent from both sides to want to do it for it to work successfully. Because I know that if I'm walking in a store, I would love to know a little bit more about what I'm about to buy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know where it's coming from. I want to know like what the values of the company is that's growing it. Because like it's the same thing as like when you're going to like buy a bottle of liquor as well. Like if you're looking for a proper bottle, you're gonna go for a little bit more of something that has history behind it, something that you can relate to the brand. Like you can do things like that. So I feel like cannabis has to be the same way. Like if I'm going to buy something, like I'm not going to name drop anything, but if I'm going to go buy something from someone that's, you know, trying to just literally sell boof, like literally like, you know, grind it up, like literally dust inside pre-rolls. It's like, okay, like what's the brand here? What's the story here? Versus if I'm going to buy some like 3-5 craft flower by somebody that's like, you know, a micro that's like, you know, has a family, like organic, like a family practice. They're like growing organically. Like there's so many different things. So, yeah, like just having that education, being able to relate to the brand on a personal level in a way. I think that's where it needs to go. And that's where that education comes in. Like the LP has to send this information out. The bud tenders got to learn this, and then they've got to spit it out to the public, because there's nowhere else that this education will come from. It's going to come from the people that are the professionals in our industry, which are the growers and the people selling it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got over there?
Oh, I for us brought some big terp energy from JR Strain over to smoke. I was looking for something with I don't know, just something that was a little bit uplifting, a little bit fun.
What did they tell you about this?
So I went into the store, and basically what I was told was JR Strain is no longer in Canada. That was what I was told. Get this, it's no longer, it's going away. Grab it while you can.
Grab it while you can, eh?
But that it was very terpy, and because of the terps, that I was going to be able to feel great. And you know, they know like the education's kind of there in the store, but you know, it's kind of not.
Is that big dispensary downtown here?
Yeah. I went to the biggest one in the area here.
I think when I was coming into town, I think I saw it.
Garden City, probably.
Yeah.
That big green sign.
Big green sign.
Yeah, they definitely know how to market. They have that big green sign. You see them coming from a mile away.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're a great bunch of people. They have I find they have a lot of very educated people in there. I like going to that store because they do have that education. They do know that information. They do smoke this stuff and they do try the products. Um, and it shows because I had a joint before you came here today, and it's great.
Of that?
Yeah,
Nice.
it puts me in a talkative mood. It's put me in a nice, great, relaxed mood for this podcast and for this exciting day.
Sweet.
And it's tasty, so I'm not going to complain. That's for sure. There's some missing information on these packages that, of course, you'd like to see some more of, but it's definitely a nice smoke, and we can definitely light it up.
Yeah, there's a lighter right behind you there. You want to do one, or you want to do? You got one
Grab
going
you
each.
one?
Yeah, appreciate you.
Grab one here. It had a lot of information on some decent information on the back that drew me in. It told me the location, the type of the grow method, and the dominant terpenes were really interesting to me. So I thought this would be a fun smoke to enjoy together throughout the podcast. Something that would bring in a nice buzz, but keep us going rather than feeling all dopey and just relaxed.
I'm getting like this sweet funk, like licorice anise vibe.
Yeah, I would agree. The licorice is coming through strong on this one. I'm not familiar with anise
Anise?
too much.
Yeah.
I definitely got to familiarize myself.
I think the reason I'm familiar with anise is because in Indian cooking, it's used a lot.
Okay.
And my mom actually has an anise plant at home as well. So when you touch that motherfucker on the petals,
Yeah.
like straight, like it's like this, like bitter, like it almost gives you like, it gives me this reflex in my stomach because there's actually a medical use for anise. So if you have a stomach ache or you have bloating, you have gas, something like that, you take half a spoon of anise, half a spoon of salt, you just take that motherfucker down, sip it with some lukewarm water afterwards, and within like 5 to 10 minutes, you're good to go.
Interesting.
It's the most amazing thing I've seen in my life, but it's yeah, and it's just it's homeopathic, like it's holistic, right? It's Ayurvedic, it's homeopathic, you're using plant botanicals to kind of fix yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not using a chemical or some sort of formula like I made in a lab
Yeah.
to fix your problem.
Yeah.
Fix it.
It's three ingredients.
The earth is growing something for you that's natural. Here you go. And it fixes your problems too.
Yeah. And it's that combination too of the salt and the anise and the water. Like it's a few things that go together. And like, people have been studying this medicine for centuries. And like, obviously people have been like, if these things have been documented from that long ago, like obviously people were using these things and believed in these things for them to work, like it's just now that we're in this age of pills.
When they're finding artifacts from India and China from like thousands of years ago, and they're finding traces of cannabis in these artifacts, it's obvious that it's been used for beneficial purposes. I believe that before, even now, I guess, even though technology in the world is the way that it is and people have their own agenda, I still think that people are trying to find the benefits of life and the benefits to people and trying to help people out, and everybody's trying to help I believe that we're trying to help each other out and find other ways, and we've been trying to use cannabis, and we've known cannabis has been a good thing for so long. Going backwards with all these laws and these things that we did back in the day with the war on drugs was really a kick in the butt to the progression that we could have been at this point.
Yeah. Agreed. It's like we have to. It's not like we're starting from scratch. It's like we have to erase a bunch of like history, or like erase a bunch of people's feelings and stigmas towards it, and then bring it back to zero, and then move forward from there. So we actually got our work cut out for us, for sure.
A big thing I noticed in a lot of industries, especially new ones in Canada, is stigma, and being afraid. People see something new and they're immediately afraid, rather than wanting to see something new and take it on and try something new with it or try something with it. Um, we obviously know there's a lot of things that we've learned in the last 50 years that are not necessarily the best courses to go, but we're not doing anything to change the ways we're doing things. So we have to learn to, accept a little bit more and not be as scared of these new things coming out and these new ideas, and accept the ideas, listen to these people more that have been researching and doing this stuff for a while, and hear them out. Let them speak, hear what they have to say. I've always been that type of person that sees the better of people. I try to see the better in everybody. Nice. And what positive they're bringing to the world and what positive they want. I see in my life people wanting just to be happy. That's the thing, is people want to be happy, successful, and want to see their family safe and happy as well. So we just got to hear each other out. We just got to talk some more, and I think by talking more and hearing each other out, we can progress a lot more in Canada, in every industry in Canada, and especially in the cannabis industry. Breaking those stigmas, having those conversations will show people that this plant is the next big thing for us. This is what's going to be something that helps us as a community and as a whole world,
the human race,
understanding the human race better and understanding people and the wars that go on and the differences that happen because of just color, race, just all that.
Yeah.
To me, that's been crap since I've been a child. I've been friends with everybody since I was a kid. I don't see color. I don't see race. I don't see that stuff. I see a learning opportunity to learn how you've lived your life, how you do your life in your part of your world, because you've obviously had to do it differently because of your circumstances. So it's not, people are scared to try something new because of, our way's been the best way to do it the rest of the whole for 100 years now. And it's like, no, there's other people doing other ways and other things. And if we just listen a little bit more and work with each other a little bit more, we can start bridging those gaps of what's hurting us, and what's helping those people might help us too. So let's learn from them, not fight them or try to take things away from them or try to gain from them.
All these political issues.
Let's stop gaining from people and start working together.
Yeah. I mean, if everybody just smoked a joint, I think the world would be a happier place for sure.
Honestly, people just smoke a joint and just let their minds open up a little bit more, and vibe out. Just
literally, like, you can understand
what life is
from
about.
others' perspectives. You can understand literally what the actual important things in life are, which is definitely not, war and hatred and negativity and violence.
I've definitely been noticing I've been smoking a lot more THC recently, and that's because of all the negative that I'm seeing in the world. I've had to step back from TV completely. My family's like, well, you don't watch TV anymore. And it's like, I don't want to. Yeah. It's so negative.
It's depressing.
The TV shows are even sending negative messages to you. Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's just a TV show. I'm like, no, think about it differently. Think about it deeper, because there's people out there that are seeing the show exactly how I am.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're not the only one thinking about it. If you're thinking like that, you're probably not the only person thinking like that.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And we all have to deal with this gray, shitty, cold weather for a little bit. So, try to keep as much positive in our lives as we can.
Be kind to each other. Just be kind and nice to each other.
Yeah. I know you mentioned a little bit about CBG.
Yeah.
But do you use any other minor cannabinoids?
So I've been taking CBN to sleep, a lot more within the last year, mostly because I understand what CBN's all about now. I've been hearing CBN and understanding that CBN was another minor cannabinoid, but I always thought it was just that cannabinoid or that thing that just, gave you that body stone. That was what giving you the body stone, and not I could be using this for sleep or I could be using this to, actually help me. Within the last year, I've been dialing in CBG and CBN for my sleep, CBG for my daytime, keep me going, keep that mind moving, and CBN to help me stay asleep, because I have restless leg syndrome, because I just don't stop moving at night.
Yeah. Were you taking anything for your restless legs?
I wasn't. I was taking Tylenol. Tylenol was what I was taking because I didn't want to take anything else. I didn't want to take anything stronger because
Yeah.
I was listening to stories. I've always listened to people, and that's the thing is I'm not necessarily, as much as I've been talking this podcast. I'm more of a listener, and I've been listening a lot in my entire life and listening to people and watching things and seeing things, and I just want to go down certain different paths that other people have been going down, and it's like I'm going down this path because I've noticed Tylenol is causing issues with people with organ issues, and I already have organ issues, so I'm not going to go that route and whatnot. And people argue, oh, that's just the TV telling you that, and it's like, nope, those are studies coming out from real legitimate
science.
people, from real life science, and it's nice to be able to put some real life science together with cannabis now and educate my friends, family, and people around me to be like,
you got the proof to back it up what you're saying, right? It makes sense. It's valid.
Yeah.
They can really like be like, oh shit, like, it's coming out from this study or this university. It's probably not a facade. It's probably real.
I have so many people coming up to me, friends, family from back in my day, that are just like, you're right. You were right. You were right. Why? Like, we're sorry. We
Nice.
always kind of called.
I mean, that's amazing.
The dope stoner or dope Dave that was just gonna.
It's not even the fact that they're apologizing. It's the fact that they've had a revelation or something that's changed their mind. It's like, oh shit, like, like you didn't really have to say I'm sorry or whatever, but like the fact that you came around, that's more than enough for me. The fact that you're not gonna be on the side that's bringing it down, the fact that you're either neutral or supportive towards it, like that's all we can ask for, really. So that's CBN and CBG. That's in combination with CBD, or is it on its own?
CBN's usually on its own. I find CBD to keep me up. I find CBD likes to fight everything in my body.
Yeah. What about THC? Do you feel like it keeps you up too, or?
No. THC, I could smoke a sativa and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you feel about like the sativa and indica though? Like, is it really something is it something you believe in, or is it something that like you just kind of use to describe an effect?
So I'll just use it to describe an effect or describe like the type of way that the plant grows, based by indica sativa.
Yeah.
But never the effects or how you're gonna feel, because I find a lot of neurotypical or neurodivergent people, or people with disabilities, or just any sort of ailment, it works differently. I've smoked some indicas that kept me going all day long. I was just flying the whole freaking day, and there's some sativas that put me to sleep. I was on the couch within 10 minutes because I was just zonked.
Yeah, a lot of people say that too. Like, I feel like sativa and indica is the same thing that same thing that you're saying is a way of describing how it grows or the effect that it gives you, but it really doesn't mean anything. I'll bring an example out, like the Orangeade by Purple Hills. I consume that live resin and I'm like wired. Like, I'm not even wired. I'm just like mellowed out and I'm like very ready for the day.
Same.
But some people like just sleep. Like straight, like 30 minutes later, they're like, oh yeah, I was sleeping.
I went into a store and I tried that actually because I wanted to relax and I wanted something that was relaxing. So someone had told me try this from Purple Hills, and I was wired. I was bouncing off walls, but I felt great.
That's sick.
And it's just amazing what these different cannabinoids do for people, different people, different cultures, different backgrounds, different ailments, different disabilities.
Yeah.
We're never really gonna. I think we're so focused on trying to let people know what cannabis is going to do for them and how it's going to do for them that we're missing the point that we're never going to get there.
We're never really going to get there, man. Like, I feel like we talk about, it can benefit a lot of people, but you just have to be willing to try it and see how it like affects you. And the thing is, it can't be standardized to a way where like I say, okay, this is how this makes me feel, and it's going to make you feel the same way. But it's got to be standardized to the fact that like, okay, this is what I want to try. How do I begin, consuming this? Where do I start from? What dose do I use? What are the outcomes that I'm looking for?
Yeah.
So that's the way to standardize it. It's like being able to go through a calculated like workbook almost, is like, okay, this is the effect that I'm looking for. How do I start and how do I get there? So at the end of the day, it's got to be something that you try on your own, and you just got to have the willingness to try it. But we've also got to provide the regular consumer a safe space to try it.
Yeah, I was in a dispensary actually yesterday, and an old lady in about 85, I think she said she was, and her daughter came in, wanting relief, wanting help, wanting some assistance and information of, we heard this could help us and this could help us. And we, of course, the bartender had to say, like, of course, like, I can't actually tell you that stuff. And they just went into her story about like, she's not sleeping. She's got half a kidney now, and she's this and that. And it's tough to hear that information and hear that kind of thing, and hear that her doctor's not trying to get her to try cannabis and anything. She's just trying to throw more pills down her throat. Mm-hmm. I'd like to be able to continue to see the trend that is happening. I am starting to see doctors starting to be like, okay, you smoke cannabis? Yeah. Okay, cool. Is it working for you? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's start seeing that more often.
And that'll be the mainstay. Like, they're not going to remove that. They'll work with your regimen around cannabis. They're not going to say, okay, cannabis is working for you. Let's remove that and let's put pills in there. So that's a huge thing, especially coming from medical practitioners. I had a lady come in the other day, and she was just not sleeping for like 3-4 days, bro. She like hadn't slept. The doctor has put her on a pill from a little while ago. Said it wasn't really working. The doctor said if what didn't work, you raise the dose. So she started taking more of them, and that wasn't working. She's just feeling groggy all day. And I was like, okay, you know what? Like, you're going up and you're still not feeling relief. Let's stop this, pause it for a couple of days, and go pick up the You Feel Yous. That's what I told her to do. I said, go get the CBN and the CBD You Feel You, the rest drops. So now I'm going to follow up with her in a couple of days and see if she was able to locate them and see how that affected her, because like the pills were making her life miserable. They were making her worse than she already was. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think a lot of these conventional things can be substituted for sure.
Especially the You Feel You. Shout out to Sam.
Shout out to Sam.
That product has been a dream for me.
Wow.
I love that man. I love that man. He's the best. I love that team.
Oh, that's
They're
how I feel about
great.
Jay. Yeah.
They're just so awesome. You Feel You team. And their product is top notch. That is another product that, when we go back to the couple questions ago, you asked about what I use in my regimen. I wasn't going to throw You Feel You, but I have to, because it's a product that has been consistently good for me. Their CBN, it helps me sleep. That is the CBN that I was using when you were asking me about my minor cannabinoids. Okay. That's the CBN that I'm using. Nice. I'm using night night. I'm using
that has CBD in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm using which is weird, because it's got that, like you said, it's got the CBD in it. Again, with the journaling, because it seems to be a certain amount of CBD and that mixture of what's going to keep me up and what's going to help me sleep, because there's that balance again. But yeah, see, Sam and Euphilia, they've been able to dial in a lot of their products, and it's effective, and it's been helpful for me and myself and all my problems and a lot of people's problems out there. So that definitely is, that team definitely deserves a lot of credit for the hard work they've put in, both recreationally and medically, to be able to just constantly put out the same thing and have the same effect every single time and feel the same effects and not be let down from the next bottle because the dosage was incorrect.
Yeah.
They've dialed it all
standardized.
in.
It's going to be the same every time, and that's what
beautiful.
you need. Yeah, that's exactly what we need.
Yeah.
Even Sam, like, I know that he started the company because of his family and like their medical conditions that they were going through. So like it was, it's all started from someone's, like, something clicked, and it's like, okay, how can I benefit this person that I love or my family or whatever it is. And then it's just become a passion from there. So like you're saying, like, shout out to You Feel You. Appreciate you guys for doing what you do. Shout out to everybody else that's in the same boat, that's using their experiences to bring a light to the plant and to really just bring it out into the community and showcase what its potential is and its good, what it can be used for. Wow, this has me feeling really nice.
Yeah,
I feel really good.
It is a really nice buzz.
Is it 0.5?
These are 0.5. Sorry, let's see here. Yeah, these are 0.5.
Yeah, so I think
5.5s for a total of 2.5 grams.
Yeah, I think the dose is perfect, man. Like a half gram dose, sometimes it's all you really, really need to, like, kind of bring you over a slump or get you in a different headspace to maybe focus on work or do creation or something like that, whatever it may be.
Where we don't feel incredibly stoned.
Yeah, where you don't feel like your mind is all over the place, where you can focus in on one thing, right? Because I feel like when I consume, and I've consumed a lot, it's like, okay, I either want to just like sit here and like literally like stare at nothing, or I'm like, I want to do 100 things, but I want to do them all at the same time. So I don't like when I get to that space. So I try to keep it where, it's actually a healthy dose and like I can use it for a purpose after I've consumed. Like sometimes I know that, like, and this will be rare, like probably like once every 2 months or something, where like I'm gonna smoke like a full joint to the face and just go sit and watch a couple episodes of a show or something. And that's like very, very rare. But like other than that, like I'm using it to either go to the gym or I'm using it for, creating whatever we do on our Touch of Love page. I'm using it for, cleaning. Like there's so many different things that you can use it for. And I feel like it's all about the intent to use and the dose that it comes back down to is what I was mentioning.
The intent, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was reading an article. Intention's a big thing right now. Intention of cannabis is a topic that's very interesting right now, and we're trying to, where am I going with that? So Tabitha Fretz put out a LinkedIn opinion about smoking with intent that really opened my mind up as well, and I think is opening up a lot of minds as to what is our intention to getting high? Are you just getting high, or it opens up the conversation of other people and their intentions of getting high, and we intend to get high to work out. We intend to get our jobs done, to do work, to do things. It's interesting. God, where was I going with this? This has got me stoned.
Yo, I would be curious, like.
But yeah, like Tabitha put a really interesting article out on LinkedIn. Go check that out. That talks about the intention and what are your intentions to smoking cannabis, and are you just smoking cannabis just to get high, or are you smoking cannabis with an intention to do things, get things done, and that really, I think, helps break the stigmas of that lazy stoner. Because
Yes,
it'll bring
absolutely.
those topics, those people out of the woodwork that are like, yeah, I smoke my cannabis and this is my intention. I go to work for 8 hours a day and I do this. Or I'm a big manager of this company and I do this. It's going to open up a lot of information that needs to be said
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
given to the right people so that, again, we can progress with this plant.
Exactly. We can analyze, and I would be curious. I'm gonna throw up like a post or like a poll right now, but I'm gonna say like how many of you guys consume with intent? Are you guys trying to do something after you consume? Like, what's your go-to? Like, what do you like to do? Um, Let us know, because this is something that's really important to us in the community, and we want to see like what people are actually feeling about this topic and how they feel like intent plays a role in cannabis consumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we talk about intent, when we talk about reasons why we get high or we smoke, um, it will break those stigmas. It'll break those problems we're having with people that have never touched it in their lives, that think it's the devil's lettuce, that thinks it's going to harm people for the rest of their lives. It's going to change that topic. It's going to change that subject. And it's going to change that conversation, is what I should say. It's going to change that conversation to a positive light, a more positive idea of what we can do with cannabis and where cannabis can be a positive intention in everybody's lives, whether it just be even just those minor cannabinoids. Again, you're still consuming you're still consuming cannabis.
Yep.
It's still cannabis.
And even cannabis has brought light to other things like flavonoids and like terpenoids. So that's like a whole other area that this could go down, like obviously if you don't want to consume cannabis, you don't feel like it's for you, great, but there are effects that terpenes on their own can provide.
Yep.
And research in that seems very intriguing and promising. So there's a lot of things to be said about that. I think you can like potentially even replace like somebody that drinks a coffee a day. Like imagine, they switch that with an elixir of like a couple terpenes of like limonene and like caryophyllene, and like you have that same effect throughout the day.
Yep.
That a cup of coffee did for you. One, you're not raising your blood pressure, right? Two, coffee just stains your teeth and just gives you bad breath. And there's the dependency factor as well. So I feel like there's a lot to be talked about and a lot of science research to be done, which is why I'm so excited, because I know that the whole world is moving towards the direction of like being open to cannabis, and that's just going to lead to all these other things happening. And the more people working around the world on this, the faster we're just going to progress and learn ourselves. So I'm very excited.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power, dude.
Knowledge is power, and we can't be scared of it. We can't be scared of this plant. We can't be scared of the what ifs. I think the what ifs have been proven in the last 5 years of cannabis legalization. I think that's long enough to be able to prove the what ifs, and where's the point where it's okay, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start thinking about the positive what ifs. What if we do this and start allowing this? Maybe this positively will start happening.
Yeah.
Maybe changes will start happening.
Yeah.
Maybe that opioid crisis will start disappearing slowly. Maybe we'll start getting people in homes, starting getting people off the streets. Canada's cold. People don't deserve to have to live in the streets and live in tents. And it breaks my heart to see that.
Yeah.
Nobody's on the street because they wanted to be on the street. That is not the case. And I hate hearing so many people say that, because that's not the case. Nobody wanted to be on the street. They landed on that street because they were led down a bad path. They were told the wrong thing. They were shown the wrong product. Just have some compassion and empathy for people and listen to their stories, listen to where they've come from and what they do and why they're doing it. And come to, maybe if you don't agree with each other, come to an agreement. Find that common ground. There will be a common ground, and you can find that, but in a way where we all can learn from each other and build with each other and not go backwards. We're done going backwards. We've gone backwards for long enough. War on drugs pushed us back long enough. It's time to start going forward. It's time to start, again, being compassionate.
Very well said, bro. I appreciate you for coming on. This has been a wonderful conversation.
It has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you driving 2 hours to come and see me. It's been a couple months of us trying to figure this out, work this together. I appreciate you not dropping me. I know I went a little silent when I got a job, but got to pay the bills, got to find a job, got to do what I got to do.
100%.
But I knew this was going to be a lot of fun, and I knew I have your back, and I know you have my back, and it's been better than I ever expected to be. You're a ton of fun. Anybody that's on this podcast is lucky to be on this podcast,
wow.
And I'm very grateful to be on this podcast. I think everybody has said this, and I'm probably going to say it too. You've got the coolest voice. I could listen to you for freaking hours and just consume the information and listen to it and digest it.
Thank you.
You're a very calm person. You're a
means a lot to me.
very educated person, clearly, and you've got a great message. So I'm very honored to be on this podcast and on this show, and I look forward to seeing where we go from here, what we do together from here.
Yes, absolutely.
I think there's a lot of possibilities where we can work together to break barriers, break stigmas.
I'm ready.
Smoke more cannabis.
Bro, that sounds like a dream. I'm super about it. Anytime linking up with you has always been a pleasure. I definitely see us, moving forward for sure. Ways that we can both help each other and help, commonly uplift this community. So that's all I wanted to say. I appreciate you for coming on as well. Appreciate Ashley again for the space. This is such a vibe in here. It's really cold outside, guys, but we're nice and toasty, so can't be complaining.
Yeah, this has been it's a beautiful spot, the Nug Hub here in Welland, Ontario. She created something incredible for a region in an area of Ontario that was being left out, was being blocked from because of logistics and different things. She's been able to take that on and blow this up to something that is amazing. It's a spot that you can have parties at, you can have podcasts at, you can literally do anything that you want to do with cannabis, you can do here.
The spot is for the culture.
It's for the culture, it's for the people, it's for building relationships and building people up and building this community up and blowing cannabis up in Canada and making it something amazing. I really appreciate Ashley for allowing us to be here.
Yep.
And having this amazing spot. And like you said, we're warm. It's in a garage, but it's warm and it's fun.
Yeah, man. That's it. Guys, appreciate you for tuning in. It's your boy, Sean. Stay warm out there. Stay positive as always. Much love. We out.